What's going on, everybody? Nick Daniels here, coming at you live yet again. Let's get the fucking camera where it needs to be. Figured I'd give you guys and girls a little bit of the shot of the scenery, as we just found a little island out here. Figured we'd check it out. Car's about 5 minutes down the road, and then apartment's a 5-minute drive from there. So we're gonna work our way back to the car. We're gonna make a little video in the meantime. 5 minutes and 20 seconds is what we're gonna cap it at, and go. So yeah, I'm not really doing movie reviews anymore on the channel. We're gonna keep those to a fucking minimum. I know people weren't really into it there. You feeling those? And I had a couple movies I've watched recently, thought were fucking sick. So I'm not gonna really talk about them. I'm just gonna say, if you get a chance, check these movies out. The Invitation, pretty cool movie, but he gets like invited by his ex-wife to like a dinner, and like all like family friends, like old friends, come along. Obviously it takes a turn for the worse. Very good movie, I thought, anyway. And the one I watched last night was called The Circle, where basically like there's like 100 people, 50 people, and every 2 minutes someone gets killed, and it's fucking cool. Very interesting. So now, yeah, on to the topic of the movie, or the video. Sorry. Yeah, check those movies out though if you want it. Yeah, man, so I want to talk about ghosting, if you know what I mean. So I do a lot of online dating. It's a fucking bad habit, and a lot of the time what'll happen, one way or another, you'll end up getting ghosted, or you'll ghost somebody, and a lot of people don't really understand why that is. So I want to break that down and kind of talk about some of the reasons like that I do it, and then why obviously it's happened to me. Number one reason you get ghosted, number one reason I ghost somebody, I lost interest, right? So a lot of the times why I'll do that in the beginning, and like I know this is just gonna sound like me being a dick, but I would appreciate you understanding where I'm coming from first, especially like when I message somebody and like you start chatting, and maybe you start talking to them, and like something just fucking steers you away, like in the conversation. You know, I talked about the one time there, I got into a conversation. It was like fucking 10 minutes and less in, couple replies, that was it. And they started asking me about like abortion and, you know, feminism, and like that's a ghost. That's you just stop. You're just like, listen, like I get that those are important to you, but like to break them out that early, that to me, that's just kind of being a cunt. And it goes for the guys too, man. Like a lot of girls will always say like a guy like is very boring. As soon as you just hit them with like a hey, and then you don't like entice them in any manner, you know, and it goes both ways, right? It's just like basically that's it. Like you get bored or disinterested, ghost them. It's like if you started a new job and you were there for one day, one shift, and then you were just like, yeah, fuck this. Like you're just cleaning like screens at the supermarket for the COVID. That's all you're doing is cleaning screens, and you get really bored of it, and you're like, nah, fuck this job. You normally don't go put your 2 weeks in, right? And you're like, yeah, I just started, but I'm gonna put my 2 weeks. Yeah, you just leave. You're just like, yeah, see ya. And you just don't show up, or you just tell them. You're just like, hey, I'm quitting. See ya. Right? And that's it. That's all that's expected, because it's so early. Now, the ghosting becomes a problem once you actually start getting somewhere. So you can ghost after a date, which is always a little greasy, but you know, sometimes it's just the way it needs to be done. And it's easier that way sometimes too, because you kind of have to then go through an explanation of like why this isn't working, or why you weren't that interested. I actually, no word of a lie, I actually ghosted after a couple dates. You know, did like two or three, and I just had to like call it what it was. It's like, this ain't happening. And that's terrible, and it doesn't feel good too. I know a lot of the time, like I'll be like mid-conversation with a girl, and it fucking just looks like it's going swimmingly, and then she'll just never respond, right? She'll be there, like Tinder or whatever, never answer you, or they'll just never answer the first message. I don't really consider that ghosting. They're just ignoring at that point. But if you're like mid-conversation, I've never really understood it, what happened there. But I think, like if it was going fucking well, like it was electric, and it just stops, I think the same thing. I think they just lost interest, or they started talking to somebody else, and they had a six-pack and I don't, so it's just like, well, he's the pick, right? Could be something like that. But man, like, if you ever like fucking start getting somewhere, you know, like I start making out with this girl, we get a couple dates, she wants to razz, maybe I didn't razz, like, dude, it doesn't matter. As soon as you get to that level of like, okay, like there's actually been some dates going on, ghosting is fucking tough. Like, it's way harder, because you know what's gonna happen is that you're gonna ghost and they're not gonna accept it. Like, it's gonna be a big problem. And they're gonna text you going like, and they're gonna be calling you and they're gonna be like, what the fuck, right? And then you just have to sit there and pretend like you're still ghosting them. It's not gonna work very well. It's funny, like I was talking to a friend of mine, and she told me, like, I was like, hey, I'm kind of interested. I told her, I was like, I'm interested in this girl, which I am. I can't talk anymore about that, thanks. And she's like, well, what's her like Instagram? I was like, well, I have no idea. And she's like, well, you haven't tried to look her up? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, why haven't you? I was like, because I don't care. Like, I want to get to know this person. And that's the other problem too. It's because what happens is you start adding everybody on social media, right? Or this person, you'll start talking to somebody, things are going fucking swimmingly, and then you're just like, oh yeah, what's your Instagram? What's your Facebook account? What's your Snapchat account? And you get all their accounts. You get everything, which is fucking great. The problem is, if something happens where you're like, oh, I need to ghost them, what do? It's just like, do you just start fucking deleting them off everything? And it's just like this awkward fucking scenario. It's like these awkward scenarios I just don't want to deal with. I don't have any urge for. Because like I said, man, like let's just say, for example, like you can't just like get a girlfriend, say on Tinder, right? Like you go on 3 dates together. I don't know, maybe you guys razz on the 3rd date, and then the girl just can't be like, yo, I'm just gonna ghost this guy. Or vice versa, the guy just can't be like, yo, I'm just gonna ghost this chick. It doesn't fucking work, man, because you've actually established something, right? Whatever that is, right? It's so much fucking easier when you're just like kind of chatting. Maybe you've been on a date. Even the go on the date can be the tough one, right? Because like I always say it, like, and I always will, like, just because you got the first date does never fucking mean you get the second, ever. Like, people just think they're in. They're like, yeah, I got the first date. Ah, fuck, she's sold. She's razzed. It's like, it's not how it works. It's like, you still gotta fucking work your way to the second and third. The third is usually where you're fucking fine, in my opinion. If you land a second, you're pretty much golden. But like, just in case, get yourself to a third. Anyway, I think my trail's coming into an end. Fucking lake over here. Looks like a good time. You're gonna see you in the next video, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Yeah, it ends. We're going back. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the video, and we're gonna see you in the next one. Take it easy. It's Nick Daniel signing out. Thanks.